Thank you for tuning into the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, where we recap the week of Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Jeremiah.
And I am Ben.
Yeah, what's up, man? Hey, before we start the show, you want to talk about Freddie Freeman. He's the first player to hit the cycle this season.
Yes, the Braves infielder, the first person to hit for the cycle. He did it last night against the Reds.
Yeah, apparently no one saw it. That too.
Well, I mean, if you look at the highlights there, I was watching him this morning, and it's interesting. I'm looking at the thumbnail where he got a single to end it there. And
yeah, in the fourth inning. And I'm looking at the pitcher in the fourth inning.
You literally look at the picture, and I can count probably on my fingers and toes how many fans I see in the stands.
Well, there's not many fans there. Well, the Braves are just an awful team this year. You know,
yeah, especially at home. Have you seen their home record?
No.
Okay, the Braves currently sit in last in the NL East at 19-46. Okay, so they're already 21 and a half games back of the Nationals. So the season's over already. Okay?
No, yeah.
But at home, the record is 8-27.
Wow, 8-27
at home. At home, you should be winning your games.
Exactly.
At home, they're out. The road is 11-19. That's obviously not great, but it's respectable, I guess. There's a lot of worse teams on the road, but at home, they're 8-27.
8-20. Wow, and they have a 112 run differential. That is
a negative. Yeah. So
that is awful. Wow, if I'm Freddie Freeman, I don't know if I want to play on that team anymore. But it doesn't help when they do have a Dansby Swanson. I think that's his name, a prospect that was drafted last year by the Cardinals. So hopefully he can produce next year or two. But yeah.
Not many. So he's the first Brave hitter to hit for the cycle in almost 8 years.
Yeah, since 2008. I believe Mark Kotze in August. Yeah, pulled off the feet. And Matt Kemp.
Great for Freddie Freeman, but as you mentioned, no one saw it.
No one saw it unless you watched it on TV. But yeah, apparently no one saw it. And Matt Kemp from the Padres had the most recent cycle last year in August. I'm not sure if you remember that. Apparently. I'm not sure how many people saw that either, but because the Padres were pretty awful last year as well.
Yeah, they're not doing too great.
Not as awful as the Braves, but yeah. And then Brock Holt of the Red Sox hit one last season as well. But yeah, man, it's not looking too good for the Braves this year, and that's pretty much. I think that's going to be their only highlight this season.
Well, there's still a lot to go, but I mean, of the early part of the season so far, it's definitely been their only thing to look forward to.
Yeah.
So.
Just until they probably, promote Dansby Swanson, later this year.
All right, so Jeremiah, what else do we have for everyone listening here in this episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast? What do we have? What's our lineup? Like how I did that?
Yeah, I like the line. Yeah, the lineup. Okay, well, we're going to talk about Ichiro, accomplishing his milestone last night, having the most career professional hits in baseball. Professional hits. You know why I said that. And we're going to recap the MLB Draft that happened last weekend, but we're going to start things off reacting to the Manny Machado, Yordano Ventura suspensions. They were officially announced last week. Actually,
unfortunately, it was like shortly after we got off the air.
It was shortly after our show.
I was I looked at it and I was like, this kind of sucks.
I know, and then I remember I shared it on Facebook and Twitter, and I had to tell people, well, this was before their suspensions was announced. So, but yeah, if you guys listened to the show last week, I said I predicted 8 to 9 games for both players. I know that's a little harsh on Machado, but I was right with Ventura. Machado only got 4 games.
Yeah, and Ventura got 9 games.
Got 9, yeah.
So they're currently appealing the suspension, so they're still playing, but that will get heard eventually sooner rather than later. So,
yeah.
Like we mentioned, it was about what we thought there. Ventura was the instigator of the altercation, which we said. So he did get 9 games, almost more than double of what Machado got. So, I mean, I don't think that's really. It's not really hard. You're looking at 162 games. They're going to miss 9 and 4, respectively. That's not really much.
Yeah.
Did you see what Ronette Odor had said recently?
I did. Why don't you tell me, Ben?
So, yeah, he said that those 7 days were the longest days of his life when he wasn't playing. When he got suspended for what he did against Jose Bautista, the first brawl, the 7 longest days of his life.
He was on the field. Yeah, he was on the field.
Come on, dude. Maybe you should have thought of that before you decided to just belt Jose Bautista right in the mouth.
Exactly. Like, come on, that didn't go through your thought process. If baseball is such a passion for you, wouldn't you thought twice about your actions, Odor? Come on.
Yeah, like it was not like, oh my God, like I'm just missing out on everything here. It's just a few games, but like, come on.
But it's not as Machado's suspension is it's only 4 games and it won't be as 7. But I'm telling you right now, when you're a baseball player, 4 games is a lot too.
It's basically a series, maybe a series in a game.
Series in a game, and that's huge for the Orioles lineup, who are neck and neck in the AL East right now.
Yeah, there is a lot worse.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're trying to appeal the suspensions. What do you expect? Do you think they're going to get shortened here?
I don't. I think it's highly unlikely it's going to get shortened. Because like we discussed earlier, baseball doesn't want this. They don't want all these altercations on the field.
Although it is good for the game, as I mentioned, Jeremiah.
It's not good for the game, man.
I think it is. I think it is.
If I'm a baseball fan, I'm not there to see a fight. I'm there to see a game.
Right, but baseball is probably one of the least popular of the major sports, and it's getting national news. This is getting national news.
Why you gotta be devil's advocate on this?
I'm not. I'm just stating my opinion. I think it is good for the game.
I don't think it's good for the game right now. Like any old school baseball fan will tell you this is terrible for the game, and I think any regular baseball fan, honestly.
Yeah, you mentioned the old school baseball fan. That's kind of the conundrum here. You have both sides. You have the old school guys, and you have these new guys like Bryce Harper, who are really leading that revolution of the
He's
new
fun
school.
To watch, though. He is really fun
so
to watch.
You have that back and forth between the two sides there. So as far as reduction in the suspensions, I don't really see much. I mean, maybe a game or two, but.
Ventura, maybe 8. I see him maybe reducing it to 1 game. But
one start. Because he only missed one start.
It's already 1 start already.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure why he's really... Obviously, in any sport, really, they always do this sort of appeal process here. I mean, look at Brady. How many appeals has he done? So
he's like on his 100th one, I believe.
Yeah.
For New England Patriots.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's these appeals everywhere. Yeah. So, of course, they're going to do it. I don't really necessarily agree with it. I mean, baseball handed this down. Just deal with it and do your suspension and move on.
It's not like you have like a 16-game season like in football, like you just said.
Yeah, like 4 games. That's a quarter of the season.
That's a lot.
You're missing 4 games out of 162. You're not even missing 5% of the game.
Not only that, the Orioles lineup is pretty much deep enough right now to survive without Machado. So
yeah, the Orioles are currently in a little AL standing race here. They're tied for first with the Red Sox here.
Boston Red Sox,
so they're both at 37 and 27.
Have been phenomenal this year.
Yeah, the Red Sox are having a historically
with those good
offensive season.
With those good young hitters out there, when Xander Bogaerts, however you like to say
Bogaerts. Jackie Bradley had a hit streak of 29 earlier in the season.
Mookie Betts, he's emerging as their top outfielders in the game, actually.
And then David Ortiz is having sort of riding off into the sunset here. He's having a great season. And
he's having a good season in his final one. So
yeah. So with all that being said, I don't see much of a reduction here. I mean, just like Bryce Harper, I compare it to. He had a 1-game suspension for after that walk-off home run.
Yeah.
He sort of cursed out the umpire there. He had a 1-game suspension. He decided to appeal it, and then he was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it, and that was it.
1 game, dude. Just take it.
You know what he did on his 1-game suspension? Did you see this? He was, with Jimmy Fallon, just on talk show with Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, yeah.
They were playing like a word association game.
Yeah. That was fun. But I actually want to point out something. There's a video that surfaced online about Machado and Ventura, the brawl. It got re-imaged in a WWE 2K16 video.
I did see this. I saw this.
Yes.
How he's like walking down to the ring there through the ramp. Yeah, I'm a huge WWE guy as well. So it sparked my interest.
I am kind of too.
I thought that was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I liked it. It was pretty fun.
The way they can sort of do these mods now and recreate people is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It was literally Manny Machado, Orioles hat, jersey number 13.
They were
it was
full
funny.
uniform and all that.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to take our first commercial break here at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Ichiro Suzuki. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. And other news that broke yesterday. Well, I don't want to say breaking. But
Well, it kind of did. It happened last night.
Yeah, it happened yesterday. Yeah, Ichiro.
The legendary Japanese outfielder.
Yeah, had a career milestone yesterday for most professional hits.
Yeah, so he got it last night. He broke Pete Rose, who currently holds the MLB record with 4,256. So Ichiro, between the combination of the MLB and in Japan, he's now at 4,257.
Yes. That is, honestly, though, that is incredible, like, to get that amount of hits in a professional career.
Yes, absolutely. So Ichiro's first 1,278 hits came in Japan, and he's approaching the 3,000 hit mark here in the MLB.
Wait, he could probably do that this season. So
yeah, he's definitely on the cusp. He's a lot older now. He's got to do it soon. So regardless, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and he's not even I don't think he plays every day for the Marlins right now.
Yeah, he's 42 years old.
Yeah.
He's like literally a grandfather in the sport of baseball. He's old.
Okay.
I mean, he's not like Julio Franco, who was playing for. I mean, he's still playing. Or like Jamie Moyer,
those are Iron Man over there. But yeah, man. But some people are saying that maybe those hits shouldn't count when you're talking about this accomplishment. What do you think about that?
How does it not count? I can literally look at it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, to me, a single is a single. It don't matter. Yeah,
Ichiro, he wasn't known for his power. He was in a lot of singles and doubles. So, I can understand how you could say that Pete Rose is still the hit king because he hit all his hits in baseball. Obviously, with Japan, I realize the Japanese league is not as competitive as MLB.
It's like a second tier league.
Yeah, but there's been a ton of Japanese players coming into the major, especially recently. I'd say he was sort of the start of the Japanese.
Definitely started the trend. You got even a lot of pitchers come from Japan now.
Yeah, definitely. So it's not that I wouldn't say that necessarily doesn't count, but you can still see how Pete Rose is the king of MLB, but Ichiro is literally the king of hits now. He's got the most hits in baseball history.
Yeah, and people are saying, those hits shouldn't count. Pete Rose is the all-time hits guy, but I'm like, come on, man, like you can't disregard what he did in Japan.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, exactly. I don't agree with this. And I'm like, and don't get me wrong, Pete Rose, to me, he is probably one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Definitely.
And I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
When you're looking at just him on the field, take out all the outside, the betting scandals, all that stuff. Just as far as a hitter, Pete Rose is.
Outside. Without all the off the field stuff, he's probably the best hitter in the game to me. But Ichiro, he's had a career himself, especially when he was with the Mariners.
Yeah, he started out there. I remember one season, Ichiro, in 161 games, he had 262 hits.
Yeah, and that is incredible.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Ichiro, he's going to go down as one of the greatest. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer in anyone's.
Oh yeah, and
hits. He was a great fielder. He had a cannon of an arm.
Oh yeah,
good on the base pads too. He stole a lot of bases. Ichiro, he's a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend. And actually, there's a stat I saw on Twitter. He has to go 0 for 444 to have his career mark go below 300.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
No.
No, from Dumb and Dumber, I know. Yeah, that's where it's
so
from. Of course, he's not going to go for his next 400.
No,
he may not even have.
I just think it's incredible that he has to have so many at bats to go below 300.
Yeah, I mean, he may not even have 400 at bats in the rest of his career, and you got to think this is probably his last season.
No, this is it for him.
Yeah, so he's not going to do that again. But Ichiro, just a legendary career. So, do you think he's probably like the greatest hitter you've ever seen?
the greatest hit that I've seen.
Yes.
In my time, I think he's the greatest hitter I've seen because I wasn't alive when Pete Rose, was playing.
Right.
And I remember my dad, he said, he admired the way Pete Rose played the game. So I understand if Pete Rose was the best player he's seen. And, he also said, Ricky Henderson was also one of the best players.
Yeah, he was great too.
Yeah, and see, that was his time. See, my time, I consider Ichiro as probably top 5 hitter in my time, my era,
Okay, so what do you think he rates on like an all-time?
Oh, all time.
Yeah, what do you think he rates on like an all-time list?
All-time list for hitters or like all-around players?
All-around player, you can sort of go both ways here. So
all-around players, that's a little tough because there's so many other players in the history of this game. You got to go back all the way since Babe Ruth and all that, but. As of hitters, I'm going to say he's top 5 because when he was in the lineup and lead off bat, he was a difference maker top the lineup when he was in the Mariners. And the impact that he's had, that takes into account too. The impact he's had every time he's in the lineup, it was huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ichiro, he is playing in a limited amount of games right now. So he currently has a 349 average. He's only got 126 at bats. So he's got 44 hits, 126 at bats. He's got 9 RBIs, 6 stolen bases. So even at 42, he's still stealing bases.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ichiro's career stats now. So he's got 2,979 hits. So you got to think he's 21 hits away. He's
21 hits away.
He's going to get to 3,000 this year unless he injures himself or the Marlins decide, okay, we're not going to play you, period.
Yeah.
Which I don't see them disrespecting the legend, and they want to see him get 3,000.
Yeah.
So
and I think the fans want to see him get 3,000 too. Not only that, I think just baseball fans in general want to see Ichiro get 3,000.
Absolutely. So he's got 113 career home runs. We mentioned he wasn't a power hitter. No. Almost 3,000 hits and 113 home runs. So not much of an RBI guy as well. He played a lot of leadoff. So he's got 747 career RBIs, but 500 stolen bases. Jeremiah, you mentioned a 314 average. His on-base percentage was 357. So he's just a great hitter.
Yeah, great hitter all around. And if he does get 21 or more hits, he will become the 30th player to reach the 3,000 mark.
Absolutely.
So, it's not many people that have done it. If when you think about the history of baseball, the long history.
So Ichiro, for his first 10 seasons, had at least 200 hits in every season.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah, and then he had dropping off here in 2011 where he had 184 hits. So he's only almost there.
Yeah, when he was with the and then when his career with the Yankees, it wasn't as he kind of dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, he hit over 300 for his first 10 seasons as well. Just a great hitter. I mean, and fun fact for you, Ichiro debuted April 2nd, 2001, which is my birthday.
Oh.
So I wasn't born in 2001.
I was like 2001. I was like, oh.
No, the April 2nd part.
April 2nd. Okay.
Yeah, so Ichiro, he's a legendary hitter.
How old were you when that happened?
2001?
Yeah.
I was 8.
You were 8? Oh.
Literally turning 8 when Ichiro debuted.
I was 9 years old.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So almost there. We're pretty similar.
Yeah.
So Ichiro here, you got to think it's probably winding down here. He's a legend of the game. Do you think it's somebody's last season, or do you think
I think it is, but we don't know.
Do you think he was playing to sort of get to this milestone, and then he's going to get in and sort of call it a day?
I think if he happens to get 21 more hits, before the season ended, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he decided to walk away from the game because the Marlins are not really. They're not in contention.
Do you think he hits his 3,000 hit and then just calls it a day right there, ends on 3,000?
No. No, I can see him get more,
Maybe he just calls it a day at like the All-Star break or something.
Yeah, I can definitely see him becoming an All-Star this year, too, just because.
Kind of like a Kobe Bryant, like a send-off?
Yeah, send-off.
Derek Jeter had one. Do you think they really do that? I don't know about that. I would disagree, but.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I didn't say it was going to happen.
Yeah, there is a possibility, with baseball, you need to have a member of each team represented in the All-Star game.
Yeah,
so
and
not that the Marlins don't have people like Jose Fernandez, you could say is going to be an All-Star.
Carlos Stanton, even though he's having kind of an inconsistent year.
So they definitely, that could be a possibility. I don't see it happening, but my hat goes off to Ichiro Suzuki, great player. I don't think he's getting the best rep here with this whole, his Japan hits shouldn't count, and they definitely count. He's the got the most hits now in MLB, not MLB, but baseball history. Pete Rose is still the king of MLB. So my hats off go to Ichiro. He's a legendary player, and congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, Ichiro.
All right, so we're going to take another commercial break here. It's going to be our last one of this show, Jeremiah, and then we're going to jump into our third segment here. We're going to recap the MLB Draft, as you mentioned, which got done over the weekend here. So we'll be right back at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And welcome back here to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. A little breaking news here before we get into the MLB Draft recap. David Wright, the third baseman from the New York Mets, is undergoing a surgery today, which is neck surgery. So he has been on the disabled list for a little bit now, but he's 33 years old. He's going on the disabled list again. He's going to have a neck surgery here. The timetable for the operation is not certain yet, but it looks like it's going to be season-ending, Jeremiah.
Yeah, don't forget he also had the spinal injury, not spinal, stenosis. I'm not sure if I'm
the back stenosis.
He had that back injury last summer, so that held him out for the majority of the year. But yeah, man, I think his time as a full-time player, I think it's coming soon to an end.
Yeah, he's 33 years old, so he is getting up there in age as well. So, and he's had the injury issues for the Mets. He's a great player. You know, he's a 7-time All-Star. He's the captain of the team. He's hitting .296 for his career. He leads the team in hits, doubles, walks, runs, and RBIs. Which you think about some of the great Mets like Mike Piazza. So that's really a lot. Notoriety for David Wright here. So it's unfortunate he's going to be, looks like, out for the season with the neck injury.
Well, a herniated disc surgery typically carries a minimum of 3-month recovery. So he's going to be out majority of the year, and that's huge for that lineup. That's even though he's not he's not the best hitter in that lineup, but like his presence and leadership is like a loss to that team because he's been a Met his entire career. He knows how to play in that city.
Definitely. He knows what it's like to be a member of the New York sports and handle the New York media.
Yeah, so. The toughest market in the country. So.
Yeah, and they definitely could use him as they try to battle with the Nationals here. They're currently in second place in the NL East behind the Nationals. So it's unfortunate news for David Wright.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
All right, Jeremiah, so as we move on from David Wright, we're going to be talking about here the MLB Draft, which just got concluded over the weekend here. Going to be looking at some of the top 10, a little in-depth on each of those guys, and then some of the notables that were drafted later in the rounds.
Yeah, so you want to start this thing off with the first pick?
So the first pick is drafted from the Phillies. It's outfielder Mickey Moniak.
Yeah, from La Costa Canyon High School. He was originally committed, to UCLA, but there's actually a picture I saw online. In his high school graduation, on his graduation cap, he had the Phillies logo and the American flag.
It's almost like he knew?
No, I mean, because his graduation was after the draft.
Oh, after the... Okay, so basically showing respect to the team that just drafted him.
Yeah, he had the team logo and the American flag in the background. Doesn't get any more American than that. So apparently... He looks ready to go. He looks like he's ready to be a Philly. So it looks like he's not going to go to UCLA after all. And
yeah, you just got drafted first overall in the majors. I mean,
it's kind of hard to pass it up. I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what do you think about him? Sort of the chances he has to succeed right away. Obviously, he's going to probably go into the minors. Very few of these guys go straight. I mean, the only one I can remember that went straight in was Alex Rodriguez, and that was a long time ago. But so he's going to probably spend a couple of years in the minors. Like, what else do you know about him, if anything?
Well, what I know about him so far, he emerged as one of the best high school bats in the nation, and he has a good approach to the plate. Pretty good outfielder. There's, of course, there's room to grow.
Absolutely, he's still young. Out of high school, he's only 18. So
he has above average speed. That works on both sides of the ball, and he has a potential to be a potential Gold Glove winner at center field. And his baseball instincts are good for his age right now. and he shows the ability, to slow the game down, as competition improves, and that's going to be big, as when he goes up in the minors.
Okay.
And, but I don't know how long it's going to take him to get to the major league level.
It's always different for everyone.
Yeah,
so.
So I can't tell you that, but I can just tell you about the type of player he was. So yeah.
Okay, so coming in second here, drafted by the Reds, is third baseman Nick Senzel. He's out of Tennessee.
Yeah, he was actually considered the best bat in college.
Okay.
He had a .352 average as a junior and led the SEC with 25 doubles. And he was a 2005 Cape Cod League MVP with a league best .364 average. So yeah,
he's a good hitter.
Yeah, so pretty good hitter for a team that has that plays in a good ballpark. So
And he has currently signed his contract.
Yeah, he's signed. Yeah.
First of the top 10 to sign. One other guy signed, which we'll mention a little later. So coming in now at third is the pitcher for the Braves, Ian Anderson. He's from high school in New York.
Yeah, upstate New York. I don't know how to say his high school name. Can you pronounce that?
Oh, it's a barn burner. It's a doozy. So Shenandoah?
I think it's Shenandoah.
I'm sure I'm butchering that, but
Shenandoah.
Shenandoah. Interesting.
Shenandoah, yeah.
So what do you know about Anderson, Jeremiah?
Yeah, he throws a fastball around 91, 95 range, with good downhill angle, which, has room to improve. But that's pretty good for a high school pitcher. And, he's actually a commitment. He actually committed to Vanderbilt, who's also...
They're a great college baseball program.
Yeah,
so.
Probably one of the best in the nation. And, that's pretty much all I can say about his pitches, yeah.
I find it interesting that these high school players commit to a college. They got to know that they're going to be drafted high, and then they obviously have the chance.
You always got to have a backup plan, though,
I guess so. But, I mean, that'd be like LeBron James saying, I'm going to go to Duke, or I'm going to go to Ohio State, and then he gets drafted number 1. I'm going to the NBA.
Yeah,
Sorry, college.
Well, NBA is a little different than Major League Baseball. When you're drafted in the NBA, you're in the NBA.
You do have the option here.
Yeah,
so.
but MLB, you gotta go through the minor league system and all that, because you're not just into the Major League Baseball. You're not gonna be on the field, right? But yeah, I get why because you can't. It's hard to pass up that kind of money when you're a high school kid.
Absolutely,
17, 18. Like if I had the chance to play baseball for a Major League team and at a high school, I wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, moving on.
So moving on is number 4 here. He is the second of the top 10 to currently sign his contract. It's another pitcher, so back-to-back pitchers. Drafted by the Colorado Rockies is Riley Pint.
Yeah, Riley Pint of a Kansas pitcher.
Yeah, St. Thomas Aquinas High School from Kansas.
Yeah, like you mentioned, he signed his bonus. Electric arm, he added 50 pounds of muscle during the offseason.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And fastball velocity goes to 93, 97 range. He went as high as 102 this spring. So 102.
Power pitcher.
Yeah, power pitcher. And for a team that needs pitching, that when the Rockies historically pitchers struggle there. And, they have some pretty good young pitchers right now, in Tyler Chatwood and John Gray, who could potentially be front-end stars for the future. But, yeah, man, this guy has powerful stuff. And he has a huge ceiling, huge risk because, he lacks the consistency with his command and mechanics sometimes with the strike zone. But, he has time to improve on that.
He's going to have time to develop here. So rounding out the top 5 here, we have another outfielder. It's our second outfielder on the list. He's drafted from the Brewers out of Louisville. It's Corey Ray. Yeah,
Corey Ray. He was regarded as the best prospect in the draft, actually, at the University of Louisville. Offers the best combination of hitting, athletic ability, so he has speed. He can make contact.
One of those 5-tool players.
Yeah, he's like I said. This is why he was the best prospect. Coming into the draft, he's the highest pick in Louisville history. He had 39 steals. He led 4th in the nation, and he had 15 home runs heading into the Division I playoffs this year. He uses the entire field when he's hitting. He could play all 3 outfield positions, which is very big.
Yeah, very versatile.
Yeah, you need that because injuries happen a lot in this game. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to number 6 is drafted by the Oakland Athletics. He's from the College of Florida, so it's A.J. Puck.
Yeah, A.J. Puck. The things I read, he has 2 pitches that are really good. 96, 99 miles per hour fastball, 89 to 90 slider. His control command is questionable, but yeah, it's like I said, he has time to develop. But I do something I want to point out. His durability is not questionable. It's pretty good. He's only missed 1 start with back spasms.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so,
really well. The pitcher probably the position that gets injured the most, so
Exactly.
that's really
good.
important.
It's
It's really
good.
important.
Yeah.
So at number 7 here, he's drafted from the Miami Marlins. He's another high school guy from Alabama here. It's Braxton Garrett. He's a pitcher as well.
Yeah, from I believe in high school. I believe also.
Yeah, Florence from Florence, Alabama.
Florence, Alabama. Yeah, he has the high ceiling of a. Yeah, he's Alabama's best pitching prospect since Casey Kiker for a couple years ago, and ceiling of a number 2 starter, high floor. He was regarded as the best curveball in the draft, 76 miles per hour, and yeah, that's all I can say about him.
All right, so moving on here at number 8, we're having a run on the pitchers here. We have another pitcher, and then number 9 as well. But number 8 is drafted by the Padres. He's from Stanford. It's Cal Quantrill.
Yeah, he's son of former big leaguer Paul Quantrill. You know, he had a career that spanned 13 years.
So he's got that pedigree there. He's got it's got in his genes. He's meant to be a baseball player.
Exactly. And something about this kid that that he raised some questions, coming into the draft. He had Tommy John surgery sophomore year. So, Tommy John in college is very, you're going to have some questions about that.
It's basically a year-long injury now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Maybe, a lot of people don't always come back from it, too.
It's basically a year long to 2, not the way it is now. You got pitchers coming back that haven't pitched in a couple years. But anyway, moving on. When he's healthy, he's good with a 4 picks mix. He has 4 pitches. Very good. Fastball that goes to the low to mid 90s. Curveball, slider, and changeup. So,
yeah, that's really important when you can mix those pitches up, especially with the off-speed stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I feel like nowadays the trend here with pitching is to throw power, throw with the heat. Really power pitchers throw the heat. I look at people like Aroldis Chapman. So when you can mix things up like that and you have a balance of pitches, it really benefits you.
Yeah.
So number 9, this is actually an interesting prospect. I know a lot about him. So this is for the Tigers, another pitcher. So his name is Matt Manning. He's drafted from Sheldon High School in California, which is actually here in Sacramento where we're doing the show.
Yeah, exactly. Local prospect.
Yes, I know. Yes. I know a lot about Manning.
Yeah, well, I'll let you get to that after my. All
right, go ahead.
But, he's the son of former NBA player Rich Manning. He played basketball, as you told me before the show. 6'6" frame, big frame for a pitcher, athletic. That size for that age, and his fastball is just unbelievable this year, 96, 97. His start of the season was actually delayed because of his he played basketball. He's a 2-sport athlete.
Yes.
Yeah, and he played basketball in Sheldon, and they made a deep postseason run, but it didn't hurt his baseball stock at all. So that's even more amazing to me.
Yeah, we were mentioning the basketball talk there. So I also do sports writing for the Elk Grove Citizen, which is basically a suburb of Sacramento. It's just a little south. So I do the sports writing there as well. And we mentioned Sheldon High School. He's also a basketball player. Sheldon High School is one of the best high school boys basketball teams here in the area. They're always really ranked high. They've had people like DeMarcus Nelson, Darius Nelson. DeMarcus Nelson went on and played for Duke. So he was a McDonald's All-American. This was a few years ago, but they have basically a pedigree here in basketball here. So he's part of the team. As you mentioned, he's 6'6". I've talked to the kid probably 4 or 5 times. He's really humbling, really smart. You mentioned he's the son of a basketball player. He was originally committed to go to Loyola Marymount on a basketball scholarship, but I mean, drafted 9 overall in the MLB Draft, I think he's probably going to pass on that. So
yeah, and he's really good at it, and for good reason. He's really good at baseball.
Yeah, obviously, when you're that good at 2 sports, I mean, he could have gone to college for basically free. He's on a scholarship, but he's going to opt to go to baseball, which is his better sport, obviously. So congrats to that.
You make more money.
yeah, definitely. So he's a great kid. I've talked to him a couple times. He's a really humbling kid. So
yeah.
All right, so rounding out the top 10, we actually have our first catcher He's drafted from the White Sox, from the U, from Miami.
Yeah.
It's Zach Collins.
Yeah, and before Collins went to Miami, he was actually a top 100 prospect coming out of high school in 2013. So, and he actually committed. He didn't want to. He said he was committed to Miami before that draft. So he slid all the way to the 27th round because of his commitment to Miami. But this guy has 20 homer potential on offense, and he has a advanced approach at the plate. But when it comes behind the plate, he's regarded to have an average arm, which is something he can work on.
So they're looking at more of a offensive catcher.
Offensive catcher,
okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it makes sense for that reason. So, yeah.
So, yeah, out of our top 10 here, we have a breakdown. We have 6 pitchers, we have 2 outfielders, we have a third baseman and a catcher. So pitching really dominating. It seems like teams are sort of focused on pitching, and they realize that pitching is really important when you come down to postseason runs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and some notable names now.
So we have the top 10 included, so we have some notables on the list here. Jeremiah, what do you got?
Yeah, I actually have Dylan Carson, another local guy from Elk Grove High School. He got drafted, I believe, 29th to the St. Louis Cardinals?
33.
33?
Yeah, 33 to the Cardinals. He's an outfielder. He's out of Elk Grove High School, which they have like a history of great baseball players coming out of Elk Grove. They've had a player drafted multiple times now recently. So
did you interview him ever?
I don't know anything about him. Yeah. No, I haven't really done any of the baseball stuff. It's really a time consuming thing because a lot of games are during the day. Yeah. With basketball, it was a lot easier because a lot of games are at night. Yeah. So I had talked about Manning a lot, who was drafted 9th overall, but I don't really know much about Dylan Carson.
Yeah. Okay. But that's pretty amazing. 2 local guys from the area where we do our show. But
in the first round too.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And moving on. Trey Griffey, the son of Ken Griffey Jr., got selected 24th round to where his dad made his name.
The Mariners.
Seattle Mariners.
Do you think they did it as sort of a...
Yeah, they did.
Like, here you go.
They paid to pay homage. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, it's because Trey Griffey, he's a receiver at University of Arizona right now.
So another two-sport athlete.
Yeah,
it's kind of been the trend here.
He hasn't actually played baseball competitively since high school, but yeah, it's just a pay homage to probably the best player they had at that team.
Yeah, definitely.
I know we talked about Ichiro earlier, but I think Ken Griffey was probably the franchise guy. So
yeah, he was another 5-tool guy. Yeah. Really good on the base pads, good with hitting in the average and hitting the home runs.
So yeah, he got drafted. Another player, son of a former MLB player, Torrey Hunter Jr., son of
the aforementioned Tony Hunter.
Yeah. He went to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in the 23rd round.
Another team that he
played with, yeah.
Yeah, Torrey Hunter used to play with the Angels.
Yeah. And his dad actually...
Good little storylines there.
Yeah, his dad actually announced the pick during the draft conference call. And another thing about this Torrey Hunter Jr., he's actually also another 2-sport athlete.
Okay.
Just like Griffey's son. At Notre Dame, he's an outfielder. He hit 182, which is 2 for 11, with 1 RBI, 2 stolen bases in 19 games. But he's also made a bigger impact on the football field for the Irish. So most likely it's kind of like the same way Griffey a little bit in a way. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
And my other notable name is Jacob Hayward, brother of Chicago Cubs outfielder Jason Hayward, going to the San Francisco Giants in the 18th round out of the U.
Yeah. So Hayward's had a nice little career. He started with the Braves here, and then he played a little bit with the Cardinals. So
yeah, and he's with the Cubs now.
He's had a good career so far. So we'll see if his brother can be on the same road to success as Jason Hayward. Yeah,
especially for a San Francisco Giants, a team that kind of needs outfielders.
They do really good with developing young players. A lot of their infield is really young.
They do really good. Yeah.
All right, Jeremiah, so you got anything else on the list? Any more notables you want to talk about?
I do not. I am done. But you can tell the good people what we're talking about in the next show.
All right, so this is going to conclude this episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, but don't you worry, because we are going to be back right with another show. So I'm talking a little bit about Jose Reyes. He's been designated for assignment with the Rockies. Talk a little bit about the NL pitching. The starting pitching has been really, really strong. More pitching news is Tim Lincecum for the Angels is getting ready to get started again. And then another pitcher trying to make his name out in the home run derby is Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals.
Yeah,
he's been really vocal lately.
Keeps on growing. The home run derby list keeps on growing.
All right, so we are going to be right back with that episode just after we conclude here at the GSMC Baseball Podcast. This is going to be it for this episode, Jeremiah.
Yes. Catch you on the flippity flip. I'm kidding.
Yeah, so you can.
That's for all the football podcast fans.
So you can always listen to us on gsmcpodcast.com. It's where we have where our network is. We have a ton of great podcasts on there. A lot of sports ones, but not just sports related. There's things like health and wellness with the commercial you already heard. Things like social media news, movies, TV, weird news, sci-fi. There's a ton on there. Make sure you go and check them out. There's got to be something you like on there, even if it's not sports related. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud.
We're on YouTube now.
We're on YouTube as well.
Exactly.
So any sort of playback video, audio thing you like, mobile device, SoundCloud.
For you music lovers out there.
You can also follow us on Twitter. We're at GSMC_baseball. And
are we on Instagram?
Yes, we're also on Instagram as well.
Follow us on Instagram. We haven't been promoting that page enough.
So basically any sort of social media you like, I could say except for Snapchat.
Yeah, I was going to say except for Snapchat. We could make one.
We could make a Snapchat, but we'll have to see on that.
I don't know what we would do.
Well, we could just tease people on our shows, but anyway,
so see our faces.
But anyway, so there is all those great ways you can listen to us. So make sure you do that. As always, I am Ben here at the GSMC Baseball Podcast,
and I'm Jeremiah.
And this is going to be it for this episode. Thank you for listening, guys, and have a good day.